Greetings, everyone. This is Terry, naturally, and I'm here with you every weekend. If you're with me, we're together. And we can learn more every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, same time, same station. We're always here to help you understand more about your health and how we can use nutrition, diet, lifestyle choices that are all positive to make our life a better quality of life, more vitality, and just feeling much, much better. If you're suffering, if you're not happy with your health, if you have a lot of aches and pains, and you're just unhealthy, you are always sick and tired, and you have chronic fatigue and a variety of conditions, you don't have to live that way. You can change your life by changing your lifestyle choices. Change your diet. Change your health. It seems so simple. I don't know why people just don't do it. Is it hard to give up the way they were living before? Is it hard to give up some sugar and garbage foods that probably you enjoyed before? Or don't you just believe it? It's true, because most people are using drugs to get healthy. And I don't mean street drugs. I mean prescription drugs. Drugs that have been developed by spending billions of dollars and many years of study. But they're not effective. People have used many drugs and not gotten any change whatsoever. But I want to talk to you about natural medicines. Natural medicines have been used for thousands and thousands of years. It is the real medicine. Conventional drugs have been around about 100 years. And they're not very effective. They're made out of chemicals, made out of petroleum. And they come with major side effects. A side effect like, if you use this drug, you could die. Death is listed as a side effect of the drug. Where natural medicines have very, very few side effects, if any. They have little or no adverse events. They're safe. So even if it did not give you the results that you want, it doesn't cause any side effects. But if you change your lifestyle choices, along with taking natural medicines, results can be major positively in your favor. And in a very short period of time. We can abuse our body, and I don't suggest you do that. Some people do abuse their bodies without understanding the consequences, not knowing that it's going to cause so much damage. And sometimes that damage cannot be undone. So start early in changing your lifestyle. The earlier you start, the more healthy you are to maintain that health throughout your life. It's never too late to start, though. But in some cases, there will be other damage done that can't be undone. So you get better results the earlier you start. But I don't care how old you are or what condition you're suffering from, you can get better. And you can abuse your body for years and decades of years and still recover in 3 to 6 months, maybe a year. You can drastically reduce pain, neuropathy, neuromuscular pain, all kinds of conditions that doctors just don't have answers for. And they develop a drug that is one molecule that affects one pathway. It has one target, and it does one thing only. Natural medicines are made up of hundreds and maybe even thousands of molecules that affect a variety of conditions. That's why some doctors just don't understand natural medicines. When you tell a doctor that this natural herb, natural medicine, can affect 10 different health conditions. And they just can't understand that. Because when they prescribe a drug, it's one molecule. It affects only one target, one pathway, one gene. But when you have natural medicines that have been here on the face of the earth for thousands and thousands of years, it's really your true medicine, your real medicine. Conventional medicine has only been around 100 years. So that's why we're here, to help you make the choices, better choices. We give you ideas. And you can find more ideas on my website, terrytalksnutrition.com. You can go there to read my newsletter, to listen to all the shows you may have missed. All of the shows that have aired are archived in the radio show section. And my newsletter that goes out every Friday, a new newsletter, is also archived in the e-newsletter section. There's tons of information for you to get better. And like all of our shows, we're going to talk about a variety of topics that gives you more information. Today we're going to talk about your pet, your furry friend, arthritis in dogs. We'll talk about that in length. And then fix your swollen feet and ankles. Why are they swollen? Why do your feet and ankles swell? Can your antibiotic cause diabetes? A new look at what happens between the antibiotic and the development of diabetes. And will you really be well at 70? Or maybe even older? And then we'll talk about the benefits of olive leaf extract for your knees. Not olive oil. Olive oil is one of my top natural medicines. There's so much value in olives. Olives have been mentioned in the Bible many times. And you can have an olive leaf extract. You can have olive oil. But we're going to talk particularly about the leaf and the fruit. And then we'll talk about a nutrient that everyone should know about, called folate, vitamin B9. And what can help you, ladies, with your hot flashes? New study that I want to share with you about your hot flashes. Now, breast cancer. But this is now breast cancer awareness, particularly in men. So let's get on with our topics for the day so that we can really bring you some more good information. How about arthritis in dogs? It's very common. And we should know what we can do to help eliminate their pain. And osteoarthritis is the most common form of arthritis, also in humans, but also in dogs. The most common source of chronic pain in dogs. And many times you can see that, how they carry themselves, how they may drag one of their back paws, or when they get up. They can barely get up because it hurts so much. They can't tell you. So you have to observe your dogs. Watch them. Try to understand what they're going through. They're your family. I have an Australian Shepherd. She's turning 16 this year. She has no dysplasia. She has no pain. She is just doing so well. And it all comes from, again, the lifestyle choices that I choose for her. She can't choose a high-quality lifestyle, but I try to make one for her. I want her to be in the best health, in the best shape. I don't want her to suffer from pain. And when you look at dogs, 1 in 4 dogs will be diagnosed with arthritis. And large breed dogs suffer more from arthritis than smaller dogs. Your dog may be showing you the first signs of arthritis. If your dog is reluctant to jump up on a couch or climb stairs. I had a very dear customer years ago. She had a German Shepherd that could not walk up the steps to her bedroom. And when she went up to bed, the dog would cry and whimper because there was separation. So she carried that dog upstairs. The German Shepherd carried it upstairs because they wanted to be together. And after going through some changes, lifestyle changes, better diet, supplements, the dog could navigate the steps much, much better. So watch your dog. Try to observe what they're going through. Kind of think about what you would be going through. And then be careful about lying down and really slow to get up again. They may be stiff or perhaps limping a bit in the morning. They are less interested in running and playing. So here's help for the arthritic dog. Maybe not NSAIDs. NSAIDS. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. Now the same suggestions to help people with arthritis and arthritic joints also apply to dogs. And of course, if the dog is overweight, it's the same thing for people that are overweight. You're bearing more weight on joints. You can add up a lot of weight on your knees, on the joints, when they're overweight and when we are overweight. So lose some weight. 56% of American dogs are overweight or obese. Same way. Why? Well, because overweight people feed dogs to make them overweight. Not intentionally. They're not doing something to be bad. But it's the way they feed themselves, they feed their dogs. My dog does not get pup cups. My dog does not get garbage. My dog does not get scraps. Good, expensive dog food. Usually boiled rice, boiled chicken, and some giblets that are salmon and sweet potato. She loves it. And you can see a big difference. My dog was eating a type of beef kiblet, and she's allergic to beef. So I changed it. I went to a lamb source. And all of a sudden, she was not when she potted, especially when she urinated, she was changing the color of the grass. So it was very acidic. So I noticed that, and I changed her food to the salmon and sweet potato, and now that's all gone. So watch what's happening when they eat and after they eat. Are they comfortable? Do you see any strange signs? And they will be less able to get overweight. And weight loss absolutely means less pressure on painful joints for both humans and dogs. And I talk about NSAID drugs. They are drugs, conventional drugs, that both humans and dogs can use. NSAIDs, NSAID, stands for non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. They damage the gut, not only in people, but in dogs as well. People are prescribed an NSAID like ibuprofen and Celebrex, both conventional drugs, synthetic. And this destroys the gut, among other issues. Dogs sometimes are prescribed these NSAIDs as well, like Rimadyl, that can cause gastrointestinal problems and liver disease. But you can safely relieve your dog's pain with curcumin. Researchers compared the effects of curcumin versus NSAID drugs on the markers of inflammation. Inflammation causes pain. An inflammatory process is involved with pain. And there are certain markers that doctors can look for, or veterinarians can look for, that determine the level of inflammation in dogs with arthritis. This was done in a study that lasted 20 days. The result of this study: curcumin acted on double the number of inflammatory genetic pathways as the NSAID drug did. So they're looking at genetic pathways. The genes, how many genes are affected if you take curcumin or the drug. And curcumin could act on double the number of inflammatory pathways. And curcumin was better at reducing tumor necrosis factor, commonly referred to as TNF. It's an anti-inflammatory compound associated with arthritis than the drug. Now, in people, standard curcumin is not well absorbed in dogs either. It's a very difficult compound from turmeric to be absorbed systemically out of the intestinal tract. Once you swallow it, it stays substantially in the intestinal tract, and some of it is absorbed, and more is absorbed in some compounds because they add turmeric essential oils, which absorbs the curcumin into the bloodstream. And dogs have the same problem. So combining this curcumin, a very special form, with turmeric essential oil, increase the absorption out of the intestinal tract into the bloodstream 700 times better. 700% better, I should say, versus standard curcumin that was used in dogs. Now, as well as increasing by 7 times curcumin detectable level in dogs, they also relieved pain and inflammation. Now, there's another herb that I like that blends very, very well with curcumin. Both of them individually have their own really wonderful relieving of pain and inflammation. Curcumin and boswellia both herbs, natural medicines that can relieve inflammation and pain, both in humans and dogs. Individually, they were able to reduce pain and inflammation. When they were put together and used against Celebrex, which is one of the most common prescribed drugs today for arthritis, it was as effective as the drug. As effective as the drug. Now, Boswellia also reduces joint pain in dogs. Here's a study. 29 dogs with arthritis or spinal pain were treated with Boswellia extract for 6 weeks. After just 2 weeks, 71% of the dogs had a noticeable reduction in symptoms like lameness, pain, stiffness when walking. One dog had brief mild diarrhea and gas that was associated with Boswellia extract. And that is commonly cleared up when you eliminate the Boswellia. Otherwise, no other side effects, no adverse effects were reported, and there are many side effects when using Celebrex or other NSAIDs. So you're doing your dog a service. Because if you can't help them relieve their arthritis, you're not causing more damage. You're relieving the damage and not causing any additional side effects. So how do you use this combination of curcumin and Boswellia? Well, for yourself and for your dog. Now, don't wait until your dog is so old and stiff, especially for a larger dog. As I mentioned before in my opening comments, the earlier you start with taking care of yourself or your dog, the better results you're going to get. But if you wait for years and years, as when they get older and more complications, it's harder to reverse that. Start giving your dog and yourself curcumin and Boswellia earlier in your life. Don't wait until you are so decrepit, so stiff, so painful. You just don't feel good. The pain is a factor that harms your health emotionally, stability, mobility, flexibility, and pain. You can't be happy under those circumstances. I can see why you feel like you do. Don't wait, and try to eat a diet, and for your dog, eliminate the junk, excess carbohydrates, excess sugar. That causes more damage to the joints. So give daily a blend for yourself and your dog, curcumin with turmeric essential oils to increase the absorption. That's why the oil is there. The oil is mixed with curcumin to increase the absorption, and then combined with Boswellia. The dosage can be adjusted depending on the size of your dog. Usually 500 milligrams of this blend for small dogs, like 15 pounds or less, and 500 to 1,000 milligrams for medium-sized dogs. That's up to 60 pounds. Now, if you have a very large dog, usually classified over 60 pounds, 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams for large dogs. Now, once in a blue moon, you or your dog may have diarrhea. You might have started off with too large of a dosage of curcumin and Boswellia. Start small. Don't use 3, 4, 5 servings a day. Start with 1 serving a day of the combination of curcumin and boswellia to see how your dog is affected and yourself. Now, there are no adverse effects on your dog's liver or stomach, and as well as you. If you're taking curcumin and boswellia, you have no stomach damage, no intestinal problems, no liver problems, like you would with drugs. So, I'm coming back with more right here on Terry Talks Nutrition. I'm Terry Naturally. We'll come back right here after these messages. So stay tuned, stay with us until the top of the hour. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, my friends. I'm Terry Naturally. I'm the host of the show, TerryTalksNutrition.com. That is my website, my educational website. I talk health. I talk nutrition. I talk getting better. I talk about you being healthier. And all the information I share with you is scientifically supported. These are not my recommendations. These are recommendations that we have found on the websites that are classified as being clinically studied or scientifically studied. We bring you all this because this information provides you with a tremendous amount of knowledge and how to fix your problems without side effects. We all want to be healthy. We all want to feel great. We want to be in our prime every day of our lives. Why not? Why do we want to sink into a hole full of pain, full of illnesses, chronic fatigue, exhaustion, tired, overweight? We can change this, all of this, if you're willing to try. Now, what about your ankles and your feet? They're swollen. At the end of the day, you can hardly get your shoes off. If you fly on a plane, you might not want to take your shoes off because you may not get them back on when you get wherever you're going. How to get rid of puffy ankles and feet? Number 1, magnesium. In a clinical trial of women with PMS, 200 milligrams of magnesium daily significantly reduced fluid retention and bloating. And in an animal model of arthritis, daily magnesium supplementation reduced the joint swelling and inflammation by over 30%. Every human being in the United States is drastically deficient in magnesium, up to 90% deficient. We are not getting enough magnesium in our food or supplements. You might want to we talked about 200 milligrams being effective, but you might want to take 400 milligrams for a few weeks, or even higher, up to even maybe 600 milligrams, to saturate the cells in your body and to be able to affect and support all the functions of magnesium. And then sea salt, not the sodium from refined table salt and sodium from processed foods, but sea salt, SEA, sea salt. When too much sodium is consumed, it upsets the body's mineral balance, and the body retains water to dilute it. Table salt is pure sodium chloride, while the salt from the sea, that's what sea salt is. All along the French coast, they rake up onto the beaches salt from the water. They let it dry. And through other processing, they put it in packages to sell. So you can buy sea salt. It contains sodium, yes, but also calcium, potassium, magnesium, and trace amounts of iron, manganese, and zinc. It's a whole food type of salt. And here's the animal model of high blood pressure. Animals fed table salt, pure white salt. Those that used a table salt that supplemented their diet had kidney damage from the salt and blood pressure levels up 25% higher than the sea salt diet animals who had no kidney damage. So pick out the right salt. Real sea salt, Celtic sea salt, or Himalaya sea salt. They're all good choices for flavoring your foods and also being an added benefit of the minerals that are contained in the salt. The little girl with the umbrella can't do it. That's just pure white salt. No other minerals. So choose the right salt. What about antibiotics? Can they cause diabetes? Treating babies with antibiotics. Human babies are born with a small number of beta cells. They are the only cells that produce insulin. Insulin controls our blood sugar. Insulin is a hormone that is a fat-producing, fat-storing hormone. And it gets to the point that our sugar intake is greater than the level of insulin produced by the pancreas. At some time during the baby's first year, a once-in-a-lifetime surge in production of these cells occurs. Beta cell production is linked to a healthy gastrointestinal microflora. In animal models, 90% of animals lacking key microflora at a young age went on to develop diabetes. In a new study, researchers gave broad-spectrum antibiotics to healthy animals at a very specific age, equivalent to 7 to 12 months old human. They found that as adults, these animals that were mice had fewer insulin producing cells, high blood sugar levels, lower insulin levels, and worse metabolic health versus animals that did not have antibiotics during the critical time period for beta cell production. So are there alternatives to antibiotics? Absolutely. Natural medicines have a host of benefits as an antibiotic. Sometimes antibiotics are appropriate and may be even necessary even to save a life. They're life-saving. But antibiotics used in kids under age 1 also comes with problems. A 2021 study found that kids who were treated with antibiotics before turning 1 year old were more likely to develop asthma, allergies, dermatitis, celiac disease, obesity, and ADHD as they grew older. See how we create our problems? Now, one of the best and most safest natural ingredients, natural medicine for kids that I know is propolis. Propolis is Propolis, propolis. It's a substance that's gathered by the bees from the vegetation around the colony or the hive. And they bring this resin that's gathered from the vegetation into the hive, and they make a propolis compound. It is one of the most safest natural ingredients for kids, especially for throat infection and ear infection, and has been shown to be effective for very young kids in preventing and treating respiratory infections as well as ear infections. How old are you? Well, will you be healthy at age 70? Or are you beyond and still are healthy? The right diet really does mean long health. The longevity span, health span, are all lengthened over a period of time. In fact, in a new study, researchers analyzed the diets of over 100,000 middle-aged people and continued to monitor their health for the next 30 years. So the results: less than 10% of the study participants achieved healthy aging. So what does healthy aging mean? Well, their memories were intact. They did not have any memory problems, short-term memory loss, dementia. They hadn't developed depression or a major chronic condition. They could perform basic physical tasks like climbing stairs or carrying groceries. The healthy aging group ate very little sugar, very little processed meat, like deli meat, that contains nitrates and nitrites, cured meats. And they also consume trans fatty acids. They also ate very well, with plenty of fruits and vegetables, unsaturated fat, and nuts. The people with the healthiest diet, and that's where it all starts. Your health, my health, everyone's health starts with the diet, not with supplements. You can't out-supplement a bad diet. If you're eating crap, tons of sugar, tons of desserts, eating the coffee drinks that have loaded with sugar, you can never outdo that. There's nothing that is healthier than the diet, if you have a healthy diet. Lots of fruits and vegetables, and very little ultra-processed foods. And these folks that lived that life were 86% more likely to experience longevity, lifespan, and healthy aging health span, versus people with the lowest intake of healthy foods. The healthier the foods we eat reflects on our healthy body. When we eat foods, the nutrients actually communicate with our cells and make our cells healthy or unhealthy over a given period of time. So choose a diet that is high in fruits and vegetables, berries, a reduction of saturated fats. But choose your saturated fats from healthy choices. They found out that milk with fat, not skim milk, not 2%, not 1%, not fat-free, but milk with fat, full-fat milk actually protected the heart. There are some carbon fatty acids in saturated fats of the dairy that protect the heart. So the people with the healthiest diets were 86% more likely to experience healthy aging versus people with the lowest intake of healthy foods. I love olive oil. It's one of my major foods of the day. I make sure that I always have plenty of olive oil, either on an empty stomach or during my meal. I use it liberally on all of my food, on my salads, on my vegetables. I put it on everything. I consume it by just drinking the olive oil. That sounds crazy, but that has been proven all over the world, and particularly in the Mediterranean diet, that olive oil is a food that has the highest ability to reverse and prevent diseases of every kind. That's kind of paraphrasing a phrase from Dr. Mary Flynn, who is a professor at the Boston University, who has studied olive oil for over 30 years. 30 years. And she said it's the only food that can reverse and prevent every disease known to man. Now, that is huge. So make olive oil a part of your healthy living diet. But we also have olive leaf extract. This is from the leaf of the tree, not from the fruit. Olive leaf extract relieves knee pain. In older adults with significant knee pain, daily use of olive leaf extract significantly reduces pain and increases mobility. Now, in this randomized, double-blind study, men and women 55 years and older were treated with olive leaf extract, standardized to the oleopropin, or a placebo for 6 months. So the results of this study of people, men and women, over 55 years of age. The overall pain levels for the participants with the highest pain scores at baseline declined by 25% versus the placebo group by the end of the study, and they also reported less pain while walking. Oleopropin is an ingredient found in olive leaf, as also too olive oil, but higher in the olive leaf. And it reduces pain by 25%. The results of this study were better than what has been reported from conventional drug treatment for pain. Better than drugs. And this is from scientific studies. You know, our traditional medicines that have been used for thousands and thousands of years, and they use them because they work. And then now today, many of these conventional alternative medicines that have been used for thousands of years undergo scientific screening, analysis, and studies to see what it can do. And it proves that the people that were using these natural medicines thousands of years ago knew exactly that they worked. Because the science now proves they work. So now of note, though, that the placebo group had more adverse effects than the olive leaf extract. And the olive leaf extract is also an antiviral, antimicrobial, kills pathogens, So it's like an antibiotic. I would try to get 500 milligrams of olive leaf extract several times a day. It's one of the best dosages that were used in the studies. Now here are some more benefits of olive leaf extract. This is one of the most amazing trees. And there are still trees out there that are 2,000-3,000 years old and still bearing fruit. I love going to the Mediterranean countries. I love Italy, Greece. There's countries that are just amazing. And they're using these as their medicines. Off the coast of Italy, there's an island. It's called the Blue Zone, where more people, particularly men, live over 100 years of age, without pain, without crippling. They're healthy. They just have a natural lifestyle choice because of the way they live. So you can also protect the body from oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is like iron rusting. Your body is rusting. Not truly, but oxidative stress is like your cells wearing out. And when they wear out, they cause damage. And the damage may be cancer, may be heart disease, maybe injuries, maybe wear and tear. So oxidative stress is the cause of inflammation. If you didn't have oxidative stress, there would be no need for inflammation, because inflammation is not bad, it's good. And when researchers exposed normal human cells to oxidative stress, the result was a 40% reduction in cell viability. When the same cells were protected with olive leaf compounds before being exposed to oxidative stress, cell viability improved by 35%. And olive leaf extract preserves vision. It prevents diabetic retinopathy. 37% reduction in renal blood leakage after 8 weeks. Treatment of these other compounds that are found in olive oil and olive leaf extract are very powerful in the treatment of healthy eyes, and also protects against heart disease. Analysis of data from 12 clinical studies with over 800 total participants found that olive leaf significantly reduced blood pressure and triglyceride levels in people with diagnosed high blood pressure. Grapeseed extract does a similar protective effect on high blood pressure. So a combination of grape seed extract, not grape oil, but grape seed extract. It's not an oil, it's a powder. When combined with olive leaf, which is also a powder. So you have the two olive leaf and grape seed in a powder form in a capsule for high blood pressure, and within 3 months it worked as effectively as medications and drugs. So you have some natural prevention, natural reversal of high blood pressure. You can get healthy with natural medicines and not experience side effects. This is so critical. So now take 500 milligrams of a combination of olive leaf and fruit extract, and sometimes with grapeseed extract as well. And then for even better results, combine with at least 1 to 2 tablespoons of high quality extra virgin olive oil every day. I think this is one of the most powerful natural medicines that we can have in our diet today. It is such a healthy option for cardiovascular disease, for strokes, for heart attacks, for high blood pressure, for the plaque that's in the arteries. It can reduce the plaque up to 35% within a year. Now you might say, a year? Wow. I mean, I got to take that for a whole year? Hey, you may have plaque in your arteries that have been there because of 60 or 70 years. And now if you just use one more year on this combination to reduce the plaque, in studies it shows that it reduces it by 35%, and the placebo group actually added 9% more plaque. So this is really powerful medicine. And I'm really unfortunate with this. My time is out. I'm sorry, I've got to wrap up today's program. I'll miss you because I love to be with you. I love to have this time with you. You know, we can make a difference together. Just do some of these natural alternative medicines without fear of side effects. And you can have major, major health span and lifespan. So, my friends, say a prayer for this crazy, crazy world. God bless you, and God bless this great country.
Thank you for listening to Terry Talks Nutrition Weekly Show. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform, including Apple, Google, and iHeartRadio.